The devastating truth about Moses, 7 hidden secrets of the 10 plagues revealed at midnight. As the clock struck 12, the night air pulsed with a strange energy. Shadows danced ominously, illuminated only by the flickering flame of a nearby candle. It was then that the world held its breath, bracing itself for the earth-shattering secrets surrounding one of history's most infamous figures, Moses. The 10 plagues, those terrifying signs that wrought havoc upon Egypt, were more than just biblical tales. Whispers of a devastating truth lingered in the dark, daring to expose 7 hidden secrets that could shatter everything we thought we knew. From the blood-red Nile to a sky engulfed in darkness, every detail took on a new life. Each plague was said to bind the Egyptian kingdom in fear. The shockwaves of that first mingling of blood and water rippled through history like an unending nightmare. And there were hints of something sinister. Perhaps it wasn't just divine intervention at play. What if Moses knew more than he revealed? What if this man, who stood between oppression and freedom, had harnessed an ancient power far beyond understanding, and just when you thought it couldn't get any stranger, the legend of the locusts revealed itself, an unsettling tale of a swarm so vast it darkened the sun and echoed through the streets with an insatiable hunger. Eyewitness accounts recalled the feeling of helplessness gripping their throats as the sky filled with relentless wings. Panic spread like wildfire. Was it nature or Moses who issued this decree? What lay behind the veil of his triumphs? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As the last echoes of the darkness faded, murmurs rippled through the populace. Did he really summon the death of the firstborn? A hush fell over the gathering crowd, as they traded wide-eyed glances, their imaginations ignited. The weight of their disbelief pressed down as they confronted truths they never wished to acknowledge. Was Moses a savior or merely a man masking a more sinister intent? And with each revelation, the tension grew, each pulse of the heart like a warning bell. What if the truth beckoned like a curse, altering fate itself? The air crackled with anticipation, urging the daring souls to venture deeper into the murky depths of history as answers began to draw nearer. What secrets are waiting just beyond the shadows? The crowd wrestled with anxiety, the murmurs swelling like a rising tide. Faces illuminated by candlelight flickered with doubt, shifting between hope and despair. The whispers grew louder, chain reactions of fear wrapping tighter around them. What if Moses wasn't just a messenger? One voice echoed as it cut through the thick tension, drawing even more eyes. Beneath the canopy of dread and skepticism, Hannah felt a knot of unease coil in her stomach. She had always looked up to Moses as a hero, a liberator. But now, as the night unfolded with its menacing revelations, she couldn't shake off the unease creeping into her heart. Did the plague spring from his unyielding will, or could it be that he had conjured something more profound, more dark? Dark magic or divine intervention? The line began to blur in her mind as if in response to her inner turmoil, a gust of wind tore through the crowd, spreading a chill. Candles flickered violently, casting wild shadows that danced like specters among the onlookers. Hannah shivered, and a sharp gasp escaped her lips as she caught a glimpse of a figure standing just beyond the light. Cloaked and enigmatic, the stranger seemed to regard her with knowing eyes. She blinked, and they vanished, swallowed by the night. "Is anyone else seeing that?" she asked, her voice trembling. Murmurs erupted, voices tangled in disbelief and bewilderment. Some insisted the shadows played tricks, others claimed it was the darkness spilling secrets they weren't meant to hear. Just as doubt flooded the scene, more memories of the plagues haunted her. Suddenly, the sky above shifted, a deep rumble rolled like thunder, sending shockwaves of fear through the gathering. "Is he returning?" someone cried out, eyes darting toward the heavens. The tremor echoed through their bones, matching the urgency that consumed the air. Hannah's heart raced as she felt the pulse of fate throbbing around them. Those plagues weren't mere tales, they were woven into the very fabric of their lives. What if Moses had unlocked something ancient enough to whisper havoc beneath the surface of their normalcy? "Gather the elders," a commanding voice rang through the chaos as a man stepped forward, his posture radiating authority. "We must know, once and for all, the truths of these calamities." Fear morphed into resolve, igniting a fire within the crowd. They began to disperse, seeking out the leaders who could unveil the lingering questions that gnawed at their minds. Hannah moved with them, adrenaline coursing through her veins. Yet, as she stepped forward, a sudden thought stopped her cold. What if each answer uncovered was one she wished she hadn't sought? What untold horrors loomed beneath those ancient truths? What if the next revelation shattered their very understanding of freedom? As she ventured into the gathering storm of voices, a chill gripped her soul. They were on the edge of something bigger than all of them. With each step closer to the elders, the shadows seemed to stretch further into the night, as if they too were observing, waiting for the moment to pounce. Underneath everything, a dark possibility loomed, larger than the man they revered. Did Moses invite this calamity upon them, or had he merely been its unwitting servant? And so, as the elders gathered, the weight weighed heavily on every shoulder. The answers were about to unfold, but were they truly prepared for what they might find? What untamed forces were they about to unleash? The silence became palpable, fraught with dread and a sense of impending doom. A hush enveloped the crowd as the elders took their place at the forefront, their stooped figures casting long shadows under the flickering flames. Hannah clutched her arms tightly around herself, her breath shallow and quick. The air felt charged, like a storm on the brink of explosion, and she knew that once they embarked on this journey for truth, there would be no turning back. "Elders of our tribe," the authoritative figure called out, his voice like a drumbeat against the silence. "Tonight is the eve of revelation. We are faced with past horrors and dark possibilities. We will invoke the tales, one by one, until the truth of our plight is stripped bare." His eyes scanned the crowd, pausing on each face, gauging their readiness. As the first elder rose, the weight of history clung to him like a desperate pulse. He began recounting the story of the rivers turned to blood, the first direct hit against the Egyptians. Hannah felt a pang of sorrow. Was it really a sign of liberation? Did Moses act out of vengeance? The theme of pain etched into the elders' words resonated through the crowd. Many shuddered, recalling the terror that gnawed at their ancestors. A woman near Hannah gasped. What if Moses struggled against a force beyond him? What if he was just a pawn in this wicked game? The question flickered like a candle flame, igniting uncertainty and fear among those present. The second elder stepped forth, eyes glistening with anguish as he revealed the flies, a swarm so thick it clogged the very air they breathed. The plague was a warning of refusal and defiance. But were the warnings drowned in the murmur of power? His voice trembled, each word striking hard at the heart. Hannah's stomach churned. What was the defined line between justice and cruelty? It was unsettling to find herself questioning someone she once idolized. Was Moses' path paved with righteousness, or had it been tainted by dark forces lying in wait? Suddenly, the wind picked up again, howling like a grieving spirit. Hannah glanced around, anxiety tightening in her chest. The cloaked figure she'd seen earlier seemed to materialize among the crowd once more, watching, lurking. Who were they? And what did they know that she didn't? The figure appeared almost tangible this time, their hood lifting, revealing eyes glimmering with secrets. Some say the next plague was born of desperation, the locusts that devoured everything. Another elder spoke, voice breaking. Yet, did it feed a hunger for destruction or create a pathway for freedom? Each revelation landed like stone, heavy and sure. The crowd was becoming restless, hearts pounding. Hannah caught snippets of murmurs, but they sounded disjointed, a cacophony of fear and doubt. If Moses could command such terror, what if he had other powers? What if he could bring forth even more devastation? Pandemonium swelled as the elder's story unfolded, detailing the killing of the firstborn. Panic rippled through the gathering. Gasps turned to cries, and spirits soared, then plummeted. Desperation clawed at them. The audience shifted, scurrying as if trying to evade the retribution that loomed. "What have we awakened?" Hannah whispered, fear slicing through her like ice. As the tension crescendoed, the cloaked figure stepped forward, voice a ghostly murmur, barely a breath above the chaos. "You tremble at shadows, but the true horror is already within, the truth lies beneath your feet." Whispers converged as fear seeped into every crevice. Hannah felt it too, an unsettling power, dark and heavy, calling out. What truth was buried? What terror awaited? Just then, a lightning strike split the sky, illuminating the figure, and for the briefest moment, Hannah saw their face, familiar yet distorted, a reflection of everything she feared. A low, rumbling sound echoed from deep within the earth, sending tremors through the crowd. They gasped, and every voice fell silent. The elders stepped back, their faces drained of color. The figure lifted their hand, palm open. "You wish for answers, be prepared to confront what lurks in the shadows of your history." At that moment, Hannah understood. The confrontation was no longer with Moses or the plagues. It was with their very souls and the darkness that had been unleashed. Would they dare to dig deeper, or would they turn away and bury the truth once more? The night hung thick with portent. The air crackled with a foreboding promise. What lay ahead would change everything. But could she unravel the threads of fate before it was too late? The ground trembled beneath them, and it felt as if the very earth held its breath, anticipating the revelations to come. Hannah's heart raced. The cloaked figure stood unmoving, an unsettling contrast to the panic unfolding around her. The air grew dense, pressing against her chest, as whispers of fear morphed into frantic questions. "What does it mean?" someone shouted, their voice shrill. "Shall we face our own darkness? Should we really uncover what's hidden?" A heavy silence followed, punctuated only by the crackle of the flames, casting eerie shadows that danced violently on the elders' aged faces. The cloaked figure leaned slightly forward, eyes glistening like shards of glass, compelling the audience to listen. "Witnesses to the past, you stand at the edge of an abyss," they intoned, their voice rising above the crackle of uncertainty. "To look away is to embrace ignorance. To peer into the dark is to ignite the potential for reckoning." Hannah's stomach twisted. Was there a choice in this? Wasn't every tale recounted tonight already a choice to confront horror? Furrows deepened on the brows of those around her, faces twisted with emotion, reflecting the turmoil swirling in her own heart. An elder, one who had remained silent until now, raised his trembling hand. His voice was hesitant, almost a whisper milled down through years of suffering. "We must ask ourselves, have we acted justly, or have we, too, been swept away by despair? Could our own hands be stained with the blood of the innocent in pursuit of our freedom?" Hannah felt her legs weaken. The old man's words were daggers, piercing through the layers of hope she'd carefully woven. Were they so blinded by their shared narrative that they could not see the shadows behind it? An unsettling thought lodged itself in her mind. If they were to delve deeper, how many more secrets lay beneath the surface? The cloaked figure shifted, the fabric of their garments swaying with an unnatural elegance. "True power rests not only in destruction," they murmured, "but in understanding the chains that bind you." The surrounding tension flickered, shadows leaping with hunger. A movement caught Hannah's eye, a young boy near the front, his wide eyes filled with fear. She reached towards him instinctively, her heart aching for the innocence that felt threatened. "It's going to be all right," she called out, but her voice wavered, betraying her own doubts. Suddenly, the ground quaked more violently, as if urging them to heed the cloaked figure's warnings. The elders rallied, voices rising in unison, trying to quell the burgeoning chaos. Hannah strained to listen. She had to grasp the truth, to expose the secrets that could unravel her understanding of their own history. "I've seen the darkness that lurks," the figure continued, a despairing laugh barely audible between phrases. "The power to liberate and destroy exists simultaneously. You must discover whose voice you choose to amplify, the one of freedom or vengeance." A crack sliced through the darkness, revealing a faint glimmer of light below. Instinctively, Hannah knelt, pushing against the claustrophobic fear pulsing around her. A hidden shaft. A glimmer of truth. The elders' voices faded, becoming unintelligible murmurs as her focus sharpened on the light. Was it calling to her, beckoning the truth she sought, or was it a false dawn, leading her to more despair? In that fleeting moment, her resolve crystallized. "I will not be shackled to fear," she declared, louder than her own heart could keep up with. "I will seek the truth. We cannot let darkness define us." The upsurge of voices, once lost in commotion, shifted to hesitant murmurs of agreement. The crowd surged towards her, as if lifted by a wave of shared determination, yet uncertainty formed an invisible line, halting their advance. Each person wrestled with the choice between comfort in ignorance or the peril of enlightenment. "Who will come with me?" Hannah challenged, her voice firm, penetrating the trepidation. Her heart felt electric, alive with possibility, but also heavy with dread. The cloaked figure regarded her, eyes intense and knowing. "The truth is one thing, the consequences it brings are another." Lightning crackled overhead again, sending fresh waves of fear through the gathering. Yet, against the backdrop of gathering storm, a new flicker of hope sparked amongst the people. But in the shadows, something stirred, a whisper against the wind. As Hannah reached for the light in the abyss, she sensed the truth was much more than she had bargained for, and that the following revelations would shake the very foundation of their beliefs. What would she uncover? Would they stand united, or would fear rip them apart? At that moment, it became clear, the journey had only just begun, and an invitation to the unknown awaited. Would she take the leap into darkness? Hannah's breath hitched as the crowd behind her teetered on the brink of chaos. Doubts churned through her mind like a tempest. Would they truly step into the abyss together? Or would fear become their thirst for ignorance? The faint light pulsated from within the fissure, inviting but also warning. Her heart raced anew, its rhythm a frantic drum in her chest. With a swift motion, she reached for the boy again, meeting his gaze once more. The uncertainty in his eyes mirrored her own. "Stay close," she urged softly, each word laced with a growing determination. But as she spoke, she felt the air grow thicker, more oppressive, as if pressuring her to take a stance, to make a choice, hers or theirs. As if on cue, the cloaked figure swept their arm, gesturing toward the light creeping through the crack. "That is the path, the answer lies within," they intoned, voice resonating with dark certainty. The crowd collectively inhaled, holding their breath. Was this the guide they sought, or a siren song leading them to demise? A sudden crash echoed through the chaos. A stone, dislodged, tumbled from the ground above, nearly striking the boy. Murmurs of fear rose, breaking like waves against unforgiving shores. Panic flared anew. "Everyone, listen." Hannah's voice rang out, desperate but hopeful. "We can't be afraid to seek the truth. Yes, it may bring discomfort, but without it, we are forever blind." Some swayed, hesitating. Others stood firm, tentatively nodding. The energy around her shifted, teetering on the edge of panic and resolve, and Hannah was filled with a sudden wave of warmth. Perhaps they wouldn't just follow her, perhaps they would embrace the darkness together. The cloaked figure chuckled softly, an unsettling sound that sent chills down her spine. "Courage is commendable, but will your hearts withstand what lurks in the shadows? What if the truth is a curse?" Hannah held her breath, recognizing the weight of those words. She cast her gaze over the gathered crowd. Many faces reflected fear, but others sparked with curiosity. She thought of the stories whispered in shadows, secrets held back, lives shattered. They couldn't retreat now. "Listen to the echoes of your ancestors," the figure pressed, almost coaxing now. "What you awaken tonight will ripple through the fabric of time. Are you ready to unearth horrors that could unravel everything you know?" A shiver ran through the crowd, fueling her resolve. "I'm ready," she shouted. "Let us take our futures into our own hands. Whatever lies ahead, we'll face it together. Are you with me?" Her cry resonated, touching the hearts of those present. They began to chant, a chorus rising against the uncertainty. Together. Together. Their voices swelled into something powerful, surging toward that tantalizing light, but just as the chant rumbled through the throng, a deafening roar erupted from the depths of the ground. The earth shook violently beneath their feet, shattering their momentum and sending vibrations through their bodies. What now? Someone screamed, eyes wide with terror. A fissure expanded, the light brightening with an intensity that hurt to look upon. New shadows emerged, swirling just out of reach. Hannah felt her heart plunge. The cloaked figure stood unmoving, a calm amidst the chaos. Only the worthy will pass through, they said, their voice echoing. But what worth is found in darkness? The crowd hesitated, the weight of their decision palpable in the charged air. Fear gnawed at the edges of their newfound unity, doubts creeping back in. Hannah stepped closer to the crack, peering into the bright unknown. Would they leap in unison, or would hesitation freeze them in place? She drew a deep breath, flicking her eyes back to the figure. What awaits us? She demanded, a tumult of emotions swirling within her. Only the truth, came the cryptic reply, and the consequences of your choices. The light flared again, blinding yet beckoning. Hannah took a cautious step toward it, her breath catching as a tremor of anticipation coursed through her. Would she finally grasp the truth that so many had sought before her? As the air thickened with both promise and dread, only one thing seemed certain tonight: the lines between freedom and bondage would blur, and the choices made here could alter everything they believed. Would they all hold on to the light? Or would they succumb to the shadows waiting to reclaim them? The decision loomed ahead, the night was far from over. The ground quaked ferociously, sending ripples of fear through the assembled crowd. Dust and pebbles rained down from above, creating a haze that mingled with the stench of sweat and anxiety. Hannah's heart pounded like thunder in her chest, drowning out the frantic whispers around her. Face it. Don't look away. She implored, her voice barely rising above the cacophony. The boy at her side stood frozen, eyes widening in shock. As if summoned, the cloaked figure raised their arms, the shadows swirling around them like feeding serpents. You think you desire the truth? What if it devastates you? What if it shatters your very essence? A soft gasp slipped through the crowd. Hannah felt her stomach twist. Would they turn back? A glance at the fissure showed the light pulsing ominously, its glow flickering like a heartbeat. Together. Hannah yelled again, her voice rising, fueled by desperation and hope. We can't let fear pull us apart now. Remember what we've suffered in silence. Their fearful murmurs transformed into hesitant agreement, voices lifting in unison. Together. Together. But then, the ground split wider. The crack now rippled with fragments of blinding white and deep, consuming black. Shadows seemed to reach for her, slithering across the floor like fingers poised to drag them down into darkness. Will you descend into the depths? The cloaked figure's tone turned serpentine, alluring and ghastly. Will you embrace what is to come? Or will you cling to your ignorance? Your choice will echo on for centuries, inflicting pain or bestowing wisdom. Hannah felt her skin prickle with fear and excitement. The uncertainty felt like fire coursing through her veins. Yet she also sensed that something monumental was about to unfold. Don't be deceived. A voice cried from the back. It was Shelley, her brow furrowed in uncertainty. What if the darkness is infinite? What if we can't return? Hannah turned, leaning into her with unwavering conviction. Shelley, if we don't try, we'll be forever shackled to our fears. It's worse to live without knowing. The crowd wavered, uncertainty painted fear across their faces. Hannah stepped closer to the crack, beyond where the shadows danced, gripping the boy's hand tightly. You must trust that we can face whatever is to come. Whatever truth awaits us, both good and bad, it's ours to bear. Together. A flicker of resolve surged through the throng. The murmurs grew louder as people began inching forward, edging toward her. And then, without warning, the earth roared a second time. The brightness from the fissure intensified, spilling a cascade of dazzling light forth. Hannah squinted, heart racing, doubt clawing at her. There was so much weight on this moment, so many hopes, fears, and secrets intertwined. Would they all surge into the light? Or would they falter in the shadow's embrace? Those who choose to step into the truth, embrace your fate. The cloaked figure called, a haunting smile twisting their lips. But know this: it is not the light that will define you, but what lies within you when darkness falls. Just as she felt the tension peak, Hannah heard a low growl emanating from the fissure, a rumble that felt ancient and furious, reverberating through her bones. This was no simple choice, it was a reckoning and awakening. Now! She shouted, her voice commanding the hesitant ones. If you choose the light, step forward. We take this leap together. The boy beside her took a brave step. One by one, others began to follow, spurred by a shared determination, a collective resolve. But in the midst of their movement, the shadows surged violently, swirling into a tempest, but what was hidden in the depths of the light was far more terrifying. Suddenly, Hannah felt a cold hand grip her wrist, pulling her back. Panic flooded her senses. Who or what was dragging her away from the very truth she sought? Fight it, Hannah. A familiar voice called just as the fissure's light beckoned with greater urgency. Faced between the grip of that hand and the allure of the glow, she stood at a crossroad. What would she choose? As the clamor around her intensified, the weight of every heart in that crowd pressed against her, awaiting her decision. The line was drawn, and whatever truth lay ahead awaited her choice: a light or a consuming dark. With that haunting embrace ensnaring her wrist, she had to ask herself, could she break free? Or would fear claim hold of her in an irrevocable way? Hannah's instincts screamed at her as she strained against the grip, every fiber in her being yearning to seize the light, but the icy fingers pinched tighter. She twisted her head to catch a glimpse of her captor. It was a blurred face, a mixture of fear and anger. A gasp escaped her lips as she recognized the boy from earlier, the one who had stood frozen, now a sorrowful reflection of her turmoil. Let go! She shouted, but the words felt weak against the onslaught of sound and chaos swirling around her. Don't do it. You'll regret it. He pleaded. There was desperation in his tone that cut through her. It echoed the fear lurking in the crowd, vibrating from soul to soul. Regret what? She countered, her heart hammering furiously. It's us or nothing. We can either face this together or stay trapped in our own fears. The boy's grip faltered slightly, but then he shook his head, urgency flooding his eyes. Hannah, the darkness is calling to you. We don't understand what we're dealing with. A rumble emerged from the fissure, echoing ominously, drowning out their voices. Shadows licked at their feet, but the light shimmered like a beacon, relentless and inviting. Hannah felt herself teetering on the edge of desperation and hope. This is our chance. She cried, her voice breaking through the turmoil. Can we really let this moment slip away? We might finally know what's been plaguing us. A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd, igniting sparks of courage amongst them. Together. They shouted again, urgency feeding their determination. The boy hesitated, his grip loosening. A flicker of doubt flashed in his eyes, and in that moment, Hannah wrenched herself free, propelled by the swell of unity surrounding her. Now! She yelled, plunging toward the light. It felt warm, vibrant, alive. Hope surged within her even as the chaos intensified behind. The shadows contorted, reaching out as if they could swallow her whole. But the crowd was moving, too. One by one, they stepped forward, drawn into the incandescent glow, the thunderous sound receding as they embraced the truth together. Then, all at once, the fissure released a blinding burst of light, spilling forth a kaleidoscope of colors and warmth that washed over them. Hannah blinked, dazzled, feeling both the heaviness of fear and the buoyancy of hope collide within her. But just beyond that light lay a darkness deeper than she had ever known. Figures emerged from the void, strange forms twisting through the shadows. Some wore cloaks, others faces marked by the burdens of their own choices. "No!" the boy shouted. "You don't know what you're doing. Turn back." Panic seeped into his voice, cringing closer, the sheer force of his fear stinging Hannah. With a heart full of dread, she pressed forward, beckoning to him, urging him to stay close. "You have to stay. We can't turn back now." Hannah crossed the threshold, and everything shifted. The air was thick, charged with an energy that compelled her to move further, deeper into the divide. The voices of the crowd faded, and Hannah's senses heightened, every heartbeat pounding like a drum. Suddenly, she was alone in a blur of shadow and light, her thoughts racing. The air crackled, and an echo resounded through her mind. "You sought the truth," it whispered, an ethereal tone that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere all at once. "Now face it." Hannah's heart raced. What truth awaited her? What darkness held sway? Just when she thought she could catch her breath, the ground beneath her feet trembled once more, sending her crashing to the ground as an unseen force roared from below. As she reoriented herself, the shadows began to morph into figures, hauntingly familiar, each embodying a fragment of her past, each with secrets wrapped in layers of dread. "Welcome to your reckoning," they intoned in unison. Hannah gasped, her mind racing. Was this the truth she had sought? Would she have the courage to uncover what lay buried? As they advanced toward her, the question echoed in her mind like a haunting refrain. What would the truth demand of her? Hannah scrambled backward, the ground cold and unforgiving beneath her palms. The figures loomed closer, their edges sharp and twisted, their faces obscured by mists of regret. Panic gripped her throat, tightening like a vice, but she fought against the sensation, forcing herself to breathe. "Who are you?" she cried, her voice trembling with uncertainty. "What do you want from me?" The figures paused, their ghastly forms flickering like candle flames in a breeze. Each shadowy countenance held a familiar gaze, a lost friend, a missed opportunity, an unacknowledged fear. They were parts of her past, pieces she thought she had buried deep. And yet, here they were, rising from the ashes of her forgotten memories to confront her. "You called us," one murmured, its voice dripping with sadness and accusation. "You wished to uncover the truth. Now you must reckon with what you've concealed." Hannah's breath hitched. The word struck her like a physical blow. Was this what it meant to seek the truth? All those moments she had suppressed. The ones that weighed heavily in her heart. The fear of failure, the guilt of abandonment, the pain of choices undone. With a shaky nod, she faced them, squaring her shoulders. "I'm ready," she declared, surprising herself. "I want to face this." As she spoke, the air shifted. The crackling energy around her surged, wrapping her in a cocoon of warmth despite the coldness emanating from the shadows. With each passing heartbeat, the figures seemed to pulse, drawing her in, inviting her to remember. In a sudden rush, images cascaded through her mind like waves breaking upon the shore, her childhood laughter tainted with shadows of neglect, friends who had drifted away, moments she wished she could reclaim. Each memory brought with it a wave of emotion, hot and raw. Hannah cringed under their weight but held her ground. From the depths of her soul, she felt a surge of defiance. "No more running. I need to confront this." The shadows shimmered at her words, surprised, uncertain. Then they shifted, reshaping, transforming into scenes that spiraled around her. She was thrust into her past, reliving the choices she had made, each one radiating a lesson wrapped in pain, wisdom laced with torment. "Face us," the figures demanded, growing stronger, coalescing into her fears personified. "Face the darkness and discover your truth." Hannah's heart thundered, but an ember of determination sparked within her. With a sudden rush of clarity, she stepped forward, reaching out to her past selves. "I'm sorry," she admitted, her voice splitting the air like glass. "I didn't understand, but I do now. I want to forgive myself." The shadows paused again, their faces softening, confusion flickering in their depths. It was a moment of vulnerability, an opening. But just as she thought she was breaking through, a sudden quake trembled underfoot, knocking her back. The shadows writhed, their forms becoming ever more chaotic, and a deep roar echoed from the fissure behind her. "Your reckoning is not complete." They shrieked, their anger erupting like a gale-force wind. Hannah stumbled, feeling the darkness creep back around her, threatening to swallow her whole. "No!" she yelled, scrambling to stand. "I want to be consumed by this." Then, a figure emerged from the haze, distinct from the others. It was the boy, the one who had begged her to turn back. His eyes shimmered with a blend of fear and encouragement, urging her to push through. "Remember," he shouted over the growing din. "The strength you seek lies within you." As she locked eyes with him, clarity surged through her once again. Could it be true? In that moment, something ignited inside her, a fierce light pushing back against the encroaching darkness, embroidered with the truth she had so long buried. Would she embrace that light and face the reckoning ahead, or would the shadows pull her back into oblivion? The decision loomed like an avalanche, ready to tumble down at her feet, threatening to bury her. What choice would she make? And what awaited her in the depths of that truth? The ground shook again, a ferocious tremor that made her knees buckle. The boy, the one who had appeared to guide her, extended a hand toward her. His eyes plea-laden, urging her to take the leap. She felt torn, caught between the darkness threatening to engulf her and the flicker of hope shimmering in his gaze. "Take my hand, Hannah." His voice sliced through the looming chaos. The shadows howled, desperate to pull her away into their swirling vortex of despair, but she was overwhelmed with clarity. This was a moment, a choice that could change everything. She felt the energy within her flare, bold and fiery, answering his call. With utmost determination, she lunged forward, grasping his hand. The warmth radiated from his touch, igniting the dim corners of her heart. The shadows shrieked in outrage, swarming her, trying to tear them apart. "You can't escape," they wailed, their voices like nails on a chalkboard. But Hannah held on tighter, clutching the boy's hand like a lifeline. "I am done hiding," she shouted, her voice booming over the cacophony. In that second, the light within her exploded, a brilliant burst that pushed back the encroaching darkness. The shadows recoiled, their forms twisting and contorting, losing power as her resolve intensified. Her past surged forward, visions unraveling like a movie reel. The birthdays she had shunned because of guilt, the friends she pushed away in her fear, each one transformed in the light, recontextualized by understanding. "Let them go," the boy yelled, and their surroundings shifted around them. Suddenly, they were no longer in the cold, dark place. They stood on the precipice of a cliff, overlooking a breathtaking valley bathed in golden sunlight. It felt surreal, a vast expanse stretching out before her, filled with possibilities she thought lost forever, but beneath the beauty, she sensed something menacing lurking at the edges. Whispers seeped through the air, like ghostly tendrils, reminding her that not all was resolved. "Do you see what you could have?" the boy asked, his voice softer now, soothing. "All of this awaits you if you dare to confront what holds you back." "What is it?" Hannah whispered, her heart racing. "What else must I face?" "The truth behind your greatest fear," he replied, his expression shifting. It became grave, layered with understanding. "Your regret, the moment you chose to walk away. You must confront the pain before you can truly embrace peace." A shiver crept down her spine. Images filled her mind again, faces etched with disappointment, pleas for help echoing in her ears. The memories she had buried, remnants of a life lived half-heartedly. "What if I can't do it?" she gulped, fear creeping back. "Trust yourself," he urged, his grip tightening. "You've already found the light. Every step forward allows you to rewrite your story." Hannah closed her eyes, taking a deep breath, letting it all wash over her. The shadows were still lurking, but they were weaker now, the ferocity of their cries dimmed by her embracing light. With her eyes open, she focused on the boy. He wasn't just a guide, he was her hope, her strength, and her past revealing the path to her future. "Together," she whispered, we face this. At that moment, the ground beneath her rumbled once more, but this time it felt different, charged with the raw energy of impending change. As the shadows twisted into more menacing forms, Hannah felt ready to plunge into the depths of her truth, ready to recover the pieces of herself she had thought lost. The darkness surged at them, swirling with newfound aggression. Would they stand against it or succumb to the weight of the past? With an exhale, she stepped forward, drawn into the eye of the storm. Would she emerge victorious or be swallowed once and for all? As the chaos erupted around them, the cliff began to crumble, sending them cascading into chaos. What awaited her at the bottom was unknown. Would she finally find the answers she sought or be forever trapped in a web of her own making? As the darkness enveloped Hannah and the boy, a consuming wave crashed over them, washing away the familiar landscape of fear and doubt. The ground beneath them trembled, and she could feel the universe shift, as if reality itself was realigning, creating space for truth. With a jolt, they landed on a solid surface, the shadows evaporating into mist. Hannah pushed herself up, breathing hard, heart racing. She looked around, taking in the strange new world, a vast expanse of shimmering colors swirling, a landscape drawn from a dream. The pressure that had once weighed her down felt oddly lighter here, yet a flicker of unease remained. What awaited them in this bizarre realm? Where are we? She asked, her voice wavering slightly. We are where the past and the truth collide, the boy replied, stepping closer. His eyes were steady, reassuring. This is your reckoning, your chance to confront your greatest fears. Around them, the colors shifted like a kaleidoscope, the very essence of secrets swirling, pulsating with energy. Each color whispered stories, secrets aching to be told, revealing fragments of lives interwoven with Hannah's own. She felt their presence, their pain resonating deep within her. What do I need to do? She whispered, barely able to hold her own gaze. Dig deep, he urged. Look for the shadows that haunt you. Unravel their roots and own them. Only then can you reclaim your power. Hannah's throat tightened. She glanced at the shifting masses, the shadows lurking just beyond the light. They flickered, impatient, beckoning her to confront them. A familiar face broke the swirling chaos. It was her friend, Sarah, the one she'd shut out. Memories rushed back, laughter replaced by silence, warmth lost amidst tension. Face me, Hannah, Sarah's voice echoed, a haunting melody entangled with sorrow. You're afraid of losing, but you've already lost me. I never meant to. Hannah started, but the shadow cut her off, morphing into echoes of their last fight, the harsh words flung like daggers. The guilt slammed into her, hot and painful. No. I want to let you drown me in this regret. Hannah cried, a defiance rising within her. Then prove it. Let go of the burden, Sarah pleaded, her shadow flickering in and out of focus. Taking a deep breath, Hannah stepped forward, locking eyes with the shadow. I'm sorry, Sarah. I was scared and didn't know how to be there for you. But I see it now. I regret being silent when you needed me. Each word felt liberating, tearing down the walls she built. The air around her crackled, and the colors gleamed brighter, the shadow shimmered, softening. Release the weight you carry, it urged, the warmth beginning to flow in place of the heaviness. Hannah felt a spark ignite, hope blooming in her chest. The landscape transformed again, shadows shifting once more as more faces revealed themselves, demanding her attention, her parents, her longing for acceptance, friends lost to time. Each figure held a piece of her past, each one intertwining with her choices. Hannah felt the ache of loss. Yet, she remembered the boy beside her, the strength he had ignited within. I want to let these shadows define me. I want to move forward, not back. She shouted, the power of her own voice resonating with intention. With each declaration, the swirling shadows pressed closer, but instead of fear, they embraced her now. You've acknowledged us, you are no longer shackled. They harmonized, a choir of acceptance soaring around her. The shadows melted into a gentle glow, enveloping her in warmth. Suddenly, the ground beneath swirled again, opening further into realms of possibility. In that moment, she realized her truth lay not just in the pain but in the power she held when she faced it. Or perhaps the very essence of choice. "Now, tell those shadows," the boy narrated bravely, "what you want, Hannah. What future do you seize? What story do you write next?" Hannah's breath caught, the gravity of the moment washing over her. "I choose to embrace every piece of me. I choose strength over fear, light over shadows. I'll face each moment, each choice, with courage." The energy rippled, exploding with iridescent light. The boy's expression shifted to admiration, reinforcing her resolve. Around them, the colors burst into an array, flooding them with radiant warmth and beauty, unfurling into a breathtaking horizon. "You've overcome." The shadows whispered, no longer menacing but cheerful. "The truth is yours, reclaim it." With fierce determination, Hannah clutched the boy's hand. Together, they dove deeper into the radiant glow, embracing the future stretched before them. The newer realms cradled them, open and free, echoing with the chorus of their choice a melody of truth and liberation, brushing away the remnants of fear. Returning to the gathered crowd outside, their faces sparkled with relief and hope. They stood at the edge of understanding, ready to embrace new beginnings and rekindle lost connections. Hannah took a deep breath, steadying herself. "We don't need to be defined by what we've lost. Together, we can walk forward, supporting one another as we create the future we desire." The group erupted with strength, a testament to newfound unity, emboldened by the light they had sought. "Let us remember the past but not let it bind us," Hannah declared, and one by one, they began to step into the dawn, refreshed and renewed. As they moved forward, darkness faded behind them, no longer a shackle, but a lesson folded into their journey. Hope and freedom swirled around them, promising a brighter tomorrow, where truths would illuminate their paths. Their hearts united and their spirits strong, they stepped into the world together, ready for all that lay ahead, unafraid of the shadows that would follow. What bound them now was unwavering courage, each step a testament to their resilience. And with that, they all promised to keep reaching for the light. Now was the moment to forge their destiny unswayed by fear. The past would whisper, but the future? It was painted with every courageous choice made in the light of truth, and so, they left behind the tumultuous night, moving boldly into a new dawn. But the story continued, always forward, always brighter. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss out on the next exclusive journey. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm, flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about tonight's journey, and don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this conclusion.